Takes a long time.
It is.
Oh.
I sat through.
I'm like, oh, this is great.
You didn't say that to her, did
Twice
you?
a month for 8 months.
Right there.
We got the moment.
Been to these. Screw up repeal. I was kind of the same way. I'm like, this is- I'm gonna do it. I was gonna get this. I don't know. After about. She said, let's hire from the house. And I'm sitting there thinking, that's all. Give me a break. She's like, yeah, I'm just not happy with that. I'm like, well, you told that to me. Call the meeting to order. Please stand for the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Is there a motion to approve tonight's agenda? So moved.
I'll second that.
Any discussion? Excuse me. Favor? Aye. Any opposed? Public comment is next. If you would please provide your name, address, limit your comments to 3 minutes or less until we have a chance for everyone to speak. There, all right. Move on to communications. Andy.
All right, I just got back from Albany. They had chips. That went well. And then rode the bus went around his end. And they. It's fine. Sign up in front of the highway department. That was pretty good.
That's great.
So installed 200 feet of pipe down at the end of that road. Drainage, trying to make it a little. That collapse, that moved their magic tank up at that. The patch. We had some stuff that we did right away. And spring brush pickup is gonna start on or around April 24th.
It's almost as popular as the carnival.
This year it will be.
And then I'll pass these around, but also on here is our upcoming road work in the town of Mendon. It's a pretty, there's quite a bit of work you have to do for the county and also for the town, within the town of Mendon. Slide it out, you guys.
Thank you.
So everything that's in the 284 is on here.
That is at the town section in the bottom half, yes. County section of the town section, I can read it off, but Full Sawmill Road, Douglas Road, Miles Square, Pine Road. Or Stone, that would be for the county, but within Mendon, our oil and stone, the Sibleyville, Gravel Village, Fountain Blue, Shirley Woods. Finding the roads, Parish, Hansfield. Parish Road, Sheldon Road, and Assembly Drive, which is going to be a big project. Much from the roads going down. But you think you're gonna start, they're gonna start the gutters on May 15th. That end where you come in off. To do the. Bring that up and kind of level that out.
And where?
May 15th. Whether there's a breakout.
Thank you.
Michelle?
Taxes are about 94% collected. October 14th will be the date for the rabies recycling event that we've been doing every year. The tax prep with AARP, I finally got in touch with somebody, so we're working on finalizing that obviously for next year, because this year we won't be able to do that. And then I did send out finally reached somebody about the mobile mammogram unit. Sent out an email, but I haven't heard back. So I'm waiting.
Thank you. Sheldon?
I have nothing.
Brett?
Yes. Planning board, Cindy covered for me on March 1st. Thank you very much again. March 15th, we've got 2 site plans coming up at the planning board. Pardon me, just one on West Bloomfield Road. I think the planning board secretary and planning board chair, I've had some discussions with. They were looking for clarification, support, coordination for the application process. I have some kind of to us, and I think that's on the agenda for later tonight. Spray park construction, had a couple of meetings, have been down there. I see that we have an updated schedule on the agenda tonight. Looks like we're going into April now. Met on site with about the septic, that's also on the agenda for tonight. Met down there with Corey Gates, Labella, John Moffett. And went what needed to be done down there. I think we can discuss that when we look at the schedule. Oh, there also is that topsoil pile down there that they had talked about, possibly the highway department moving. I conveyed to them that, you know, your schedule kind of, you've got a window. So they wanted to know what that window was, and I said I wasn't going to speak to the highway department, so I don't know. I'm thinking about having Labella coordinate with you and in between them and the contractor, because I'm thinking the best thing is just for you guys to move, and if they got to bring a little bit back, then so be it. And it's not a huge pile, but you've seen it, right? That pile of topsoil up by the military memorial. Yeah, move it over to the highway department. I'm assuming you could find a use for it sometime in the future. From what they dug up, yeah. That's what I'm saying. That's why I think I'll get Labella involved to have them coordinate.
Yeah, whatever you need.
And then that way you can tell them, listen, this is my drop dead date. If you don't have it, I won't be able to put that. Okay, all right.
Brett, can I interrupt you just for a second?
Yep.
I just want to make sure I understand what you're saying. So what you're saying is that you want to know what is needed out of that pile, and then what isn't needed can be moved to the highway, and if they don't let us know by a certain date, then all of it needs to go.
That's what I'm saying.
Okay,
I mean,
that's what I thought,
Andy,
but
Andy said that they've got a small window when they can really move it
Sure.
in between snow removal season and when you guys start working on paving and whatnot, so it sounds like. That's because they were kind of two-stepping that April, the other meeting, so that's why I said, okay, that's why I'm thinking we'll have Labella coordinate liaison between you and contractors, so we can fit your schedule. Have a couple of months to get it done. That's what I'm thinking, yeah. And the Community Business Association, February 21st was canceled, excuse me. March 21st, we have another meeting. I just found out recently, Mendon Music Festival is not going to happen this year for the owner. She's going to focus probably more on art festivals and art shows and not the continued meeting with the building department and supervisor, discussion on local laws, comprehensive plan updates, code revisions. We've got a list that we're working on for hopefully by the end of 2023, we'll have some updates. I also had some discussions with Monroe County Department of Health, and I thought you might find this interesting. He gave an unsolicited kudos to the building department and their diligence and our code enforcement officer. Plan updates, and as I already said, I worked with John in the building department. Had Muffy fluff this up a little bit for what we have for a draft later tonight. I think he did very well bringing my caveman speak and bringing it all together. Had multiple meetings with business owners, building department supervisor down in the hamlet. got, really what I'm trying to do here is kind of I don't know if liaisons are really the correct term, but making sure that the business owners and the code enforcement's not the enemy to the business owners. It's- We're looking at life, health and safety issues, and we got to remember that code is D- for just passing. And try to explain that to them, try to understand, these things that have to be done are a monetary. It costs money to do them. Which going into that, Bump is officially open in the hamlet now, opened up on Thursday or Friday, if I remember right. They have a couple of things that they need to do as weather breaks, but they are open for business. Also worked with a couple of businesses that they're looking at some grant applications for beautification. They'll probably be looking to the town board for letters of support. Dressing up the outside of their buildings. Well, then for John at the Sentinel Podcast on February 17th and the 24th. And had very early discussions with Tom about setting up some training for the ECB, possible joint training with the planning board and ECB, basically about a deep dive into some of our E-pods, refresher deep dive, why we have them and the purpose that they serve. I just think it would be good for those departments to have it. That's what I have.
And just to dovetail, if I may, on Brent's discussion about the code enforcement officer. The way I think of code enforcement office town board is that, for instance, if you get pulled over for speeding, the speed limit is 30, and you're going 60, you get pulled over by the police, and you're mad at the policeman, okay? Well, the town board sets the speed limit. The cop, policeman, enforces the speed limit. And I think, at least for me, that makes it a lot clearer in my own mind, exactly what our job is and what the code enforcement officer's job is. Karen?
We had a historic preservation meeting, welcomed the new, member. And we, have a project ahead of us to plot out all of the, sites. They were gonna meet with the, map people to find out exactly what they needed. And the newest member has taken a very active role in making sure to put that all together, so.
Super.
So I think we're moving forward with all of that. Our fire protection folks wrapped up, as you see in front of you. A lot of work, a lot of information, and a lot of thought has been put into this so that we can consider the recommendations of all of the committee.
Thank you.
Historic preservation, are they presenting that to the town board for updates?
They've been asked to put together the information.
What is
Because
it?
they had already told all of the information,
Okay,
but now the map needs to be updated.
okay.
So no, it's not coming here, it's going to the map.
And eventually it'll come to the town board. For approval. Yeah, because it's one of the pods.
Yeah.
Okay.
So eventually it'll have to come back to the board because as I recall, maybe Karen, correct me if I'm wrong, but as I recall, some of the things they felt were mislabeled.
Yeah.
And because there's a federal registry, a state registry and a local registry.
Correct.
And I think they felt some of the things were either mislabeled or maybe they were at the wrong spot on the map or something like that. So they want to correct all that. So once they get everything done, they'll come back to town board approves it. And then we send it off to the county and, for their comments, et cetera, before the town board approves it. Thank you. Cindy?
Yes, first, I want to report that Brent and I met with Kelly Armley on Wednesday, February 22nd to audit the town hall books. Yeah. And the next is Brent mentioned, I did cover the planning board meeting on March 1st. There were 2 site plans that were to be discussed, but one had been canceled because they needed more information. The Hampson site plan was discussed. There were some questions regarding concerns from the county about pods. The county was concerned about a steep slope. And Mike Simons was there from Labella, and he noted that it had all been worked out, and they went out and examined the area, and it was a non-issue. Using his words, it's a non-issue. And the plan was unanimously approved by the board. Library held its meeting on March 6th. Both the report to the community and the report to the state from Lila regarding the library were presented to the library board of trustees, and I think you'd really like to see the one to the community because she jazzed it up a little bit and made it a 1-page graphic. It's really nice. I tried printing it, but I didn't have the right size paper. Building and maintenance, so far they believe Kevin Jungi is doing a good job. He replaced some stained ceiling tiles and numerous light bulbs, and he has agreed to take on trying to repair the stone wall this spring. The Friends will be sending out their annual appeal letter in late spring, and they will have their flower sale in the spring and pick up in early May, Security system, Casco came out to do training on the security system with Lila and Kelly. The trustee handbook club, the next session is April 18th, and Lila has been meeting with the library board of trustees on several different handbooks regarding the library and their responsibilities. And this one will be the board/director relationship. Children's programs for March, they will continue with story time, Firefly Friends, Pause to Relax, There's More to the Story, Stained Glass, and a special Saturday event, Rupco Cultural Latinos Carnival Show. The library is still continuing to enlist teens to join in with the Artist in Residence program, Saturday Carnival and Meditation Mondays. Adult programs, February, they reported was, and I used their term, robust. Several adults attended an overdose prevention program, some logins for In This Moment, as well as the Artist in Residence events, Meditation Mondays, Houseplant Care Talk, Women in Engineering, local author event, and travel talk program. And the program is scheduled for March. Tech Time, Nook, Medicare advisement, Latin Carnival, Meditation Monday, Alzheimer's program, Adult Book Club, Tuesday Travel, and a book talk with Suzanne Schuckman, author of Provocative Mothers and Their Precocious Daughters, 19th Century Women's Rights Leaders.
Thank you.
We've had, since the last meeting, we've had a couple of ZBA meetings. They were both straightforward variances that were approved, one on Smith Road, one on Cheese Factory Road. Anyways, that always it's the CBA meets as is needed. So as far as the Environmental Conservation Board, we had a meeting last Tuesday. I think Peter's doing a great job with it. He thought it'd be a good idea, and it was a great idea to have Corey Gates come in. Corey Gates, he could address, because he was on the zoning board, or not the zoning, like 20 years ago.
Yeah,
Yeah, so anyways, you gave a nice historic perspective, but also, you know, how the works with zoning. And so it was a very informative meeting. So and given that the board members are all fairly new, that kind of information I think is like very important. Peter's doing a great job. Thank you.
oh, let's see, I've got a few things here. So Brent and I and Brent, John Hagreen and myself have been in communications about opening for the spray park and the dedication of the military memorial. Still working on that. We have promised the families and we will give them 30 days notice of the dedication of the military memorial. We are not planning on opening the spray park the same day, and if the spray park is already open prior to the dedication, we're gonna turn it off. The three of us don't feel it would be appropriate to have that up and running during the ceremony.
I agree.
So we'll keep you informed. Had a meeting with the village. Brian Anderson, let's put it that way, from the village on AI Falls. Can't think of his title off the top of my head regarding the root ambulance facility. It's been in disrepair for some time. They have been talking about repairing it, and they have an initial quote, though it'll have to go out to bid of slightly over $100,000. Air off ice. So we talked briefly about it. There's some revenue that was over and above the contract. So we'll be, I shouldn't say we, the village will apply some of that. Anything that is not covered will be covered with assessed value, which is approximately 80-20 village to town. And they're building it into their 23-24 budget. We have money in reserves for the ambulance roof, so I'm fairly confident that what we have in reserves based on the numbers that Brian gave me, we'll be able to cover that with our fund. We were able to establish that because we own half the building. Don't own the property, but we own, I should say, part owner of the building, not half. Letter of I sent out a letter to the Fire Service Committee, thanking them for their input and diligence on attending the meetings over the last several months. You all, Brent already received his, but the rest of you have the notebook with the written, everything is on the town website so that anyone can go see it. But we did try to, because of the volume of the report, we did try to eliminate that. Sent to the village, and one was taken over to the Mendon Fire House for the district. I'm in hard copies, that is. Let's see. I also sent a letter to the fire chief from both Honey Falls and Mendon, advising them that the town board is going to be considering a joint meeting tonight, and that the meeting when and where. I didn't want to. I was a little preemptive in sending that letter because it's on the agenda tonight, but I also wanted to make sure we got notice out to them so that people could plan. So I apologize. I got the carriage in front of the horse a little bit there, but I think you understand why. Let's see, with the library board of trustees, because there was a vacant partial term, library board of trustees appointed Katie Corey to that, and she will be coming in, Michelle, to sign the old book in the near future. In case you don't know, if there's an unexpired term, the library board of trustees fills it. If it's an expired term, then the town board fills it. I was on vacation this week. Kelly Paganelli is in charge of the library this week. And no, it was Corey and I, it must be Brett. Corey and I spoke to a resident about short-term rental and B&B. I think we have a pathway forward for them, depending on how the local law shakes out as it progresses through public hearings, etc. Let's see, as you mentioned, we had a meeting with Labella, Brent, and the fire panel, the fire system at the library is something that we've had problems with on and off. The people that service it are from Elmira. Just seems like we're going to do some investigation because I think we need to update that. They've had a lot. And every time there's a problem, it takes a while to get somebody up here from Elmira to fix it. So we're going to ask around and try to do that. My thought process is to use some of the ARPA money to possibly update or replace what's there. And that concludes my communication. I'll move on to supervisors monthly report.
Make a motion to acknowledge receipt of supervisor's monthly report for February 2023.
Any discussion? Not a knock on the library, but if you look down at the L fund, you can see that 99% of their revenue comes from taxes.
Right.
I mean, they don't have a lot of funding sources. It's just a matter of fact, but I think that's kind of an interesting thing to see on that. Any other discussion? All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Thank you. On to town clerk's monthly report.
I'll make a motion to acknowledge receipt of the report.
Oh, second.
Any discussion? Favor? Aye. Any opposed? Thank you. Next, we have minutes from February 13th.
Make a motion to approve the minutes of regular board, town board meeting as presented.
Discussion. Favor? Aye. Any opposed? Thank you. Move on to budget transfers.
And approve the following budget transfers to the 2023. On the agenda.
I'll second.
Any discussion? Favor? Aye. Any opposed? Thank you. Vouchers.
I make a motion. All claims on vouchers numbered 23-140 to 23-213 on general abstract 23-03 in the amount of $68,660.22.
I'll second that.
Just what mine says, oh, two. Where it says general abstract 23 dash, mine says 02.
Should be 03, maybe. Yeah, because it's for March, 03.
That's what I thought.
General abstract 23, it says 02.
Mine says 03.
Maybe she printed a couple and then realized it. and forgot to replace
Okay.
Is there like $1,000 in there?
it.
Okay, oh, three.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Thank you. Next, library abstract.
Library vouchers numbered 23-021 to 23-034 on library abstract 23-03 in the amount of $6,143.17 were presented to the town board for payment.
That's so weird.
Yours isn't right either.
She must have one that she printed earlier. I don't know.
Mine says 23-007 to 23-020.
And everybody else's is right.
I'll get the cover.
Yours on the library abstract.
Yeah, mine says number 23-007 to 23-020.
You're not looking at last, are you looking at minutes? You're looking at minutes from last month. I don't think you're looking at the agenda.
Oh, yeah, no, it's.
Because everything you said so far is a month old. No, you go to the front. You're going the wrong way.
Oh, to the agenda.
Oh, yeah, I was in the minutes. You're right. I'm sorry.
No, it's okay.
I was just
When
following
you said
you.
it the second time, I was like, something's off.
I have to go backwards. This is.
Okay. I'm sorry,
I'm sorry, I apologize.
A motion is second.
Yes, we're all set. We're on to number 11.
Okay, we vote. All right. That's number 11, appointment for environmental conservation. Board.
Make a motion to appoint Margaret Bailey to the Town of Mendon Environmental Conservation Board, term to expire 12/31/2020.
That's not good then.
You all have a letter of, interest from Mrs. Bailey.
Yep.
And I think she'll be a good member. She was previously on the library board of trustees. So I think she'll be a excellent source. Any other discussion? All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Scrap items.
Make a motion to declare the following items to scrap to be disposed of properly. Scrap metal stored at the highway department and the youth center basement.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. Youth center discussion. Tom, do you want to lead off?
What we've never had this in the past because we were closed by COVID about what.
Right.
Yeah.
We didn't have a choice. Last night.
We're plowing through new ground right here. So kind of our thought when we initially had talked about this before even opening the first time was not to, start the first day of school and end the last day of school, just because that transition period, I think, is important for the students and all that kind of stuff. So, with the school year ending, I think the 26th.
Probably the 23rd. Here's my calendar for June.
It's the third, it's Thursday, yeah, so the 20, I think it's the 22nd is actually the last day of school. So, I mean, as far as closing it, I think if we close it in early June,
I would say. Probably.
It's middle school.
that,
When is the middle school final exams?
That's what I'm,
Yeah.
that's what I'm saying. There you probably are this week.
is that high school? Is that?
Middle school would have them the same, and they
The
probably
same.
have half days.
I was thinking maybe maybe Memorial Day weekend or something.
It could be. because-
I'm just thinking that kid, and this is just my opinion, is that, kids are outside, they've been cooped up. That
Yeah,
there's
I would agree.
a new sports season has started. I mean, I think you could even make an argument for it shouldn't be open in May, but
But that makes it kind of makes a logical cutoff instead of just picking a random first.
The Friday
first
before
Monday.
Memorial Day, something like that.
So you do the 26th, which is the Friday prior to Memorial Day, I believe.
Yeah,
that's, I mean, and just as, in case you're not aware, when we redid that part of the building, the air conditioning is disabled.
Oh.
So there is no air conditioning in that back part of the building. We didn't know what we were gonna do, and it was gonna be, it was gonna be costly, and we were spending a lot of money on that building as it was, so we do not have air conditioning in that part of it.
That makes sense.
I think that's the unofficial kick off the summer too.
Yeah, I think we're safe to say it like the 26th. I mean, it's part of the Memorial Day. We do get some warm days in May, but it's a big cold stone building, so it may not be that bad.
And then the other thing was that the Girl Scouts were asking if they could use part of the building. They're using what I call the 1930s portion, the front portion towards Monroe Street. But they were asking if they could use it. Tom and I had a brief discussion via email, and I think our thought process was, as long as they're going to be responsible and have adults present. But in advance.
My impression was the ask in the email was just one night, correct?
I can't remember exactly.
Because it seems to me it was a merit badge and that, fun and games, merit badge, whatever it would be. And that was, the culmination would be a night there, so. That special uses, as long as they have the correct amount of troop advisors there for kids, and I don't have a problem with that.
What time does it shut down, the youth center? What time?
6 o'clock.
6 o'clock.
Yeah, so this was after that, yeah.
They didn't specify the.
I think it's good use of the community resource
Think so too.
for the community. I don't know.
And participants.
Yes,
Absolutely, yeah, that is good. Actually, one of the things, and this, I guess this is as good a time to discuss it as any. But one of the parents had mentioned on a community page, we were talking about the youth center opening up and someone said it might be kind of neat to have an open house for fifth graders, for the Manor kids, for the kids that would be using it next year if they chose to do so. And I thought, you know, in my gracious way, I said, that sounds like a great idea.
Yeah.
Moving up.
Yeah,
That's
yeah,
what they call it, or they used to.
That would be really okay.
Right,
yeah, so like do it that, yeah, so, Oh, actually, you know what? Last week of May.
Moving up week.
Yeah.
For the fifth grade.
yeah, that. The only issue with that is transportation, which is always an issue, because Manor gets out after, you know, you're not gonna have fifth graders walking over to the youth center. But I mean, I'm thinking something with the parents, because a lot of the stuff. The parents are the buy-in,
Right.
you know, the kids come and they have a great time, but the parents are the ones that, okay, I feel comfortable.
Do you think it would be better to have it an evening or? a weekend?
Yeah, I'm thinking maybe like an evening thing
Okay.
where, you know, we can have our staff be there and, you know. Be there and, you know, again, it needs to be pushed via our Facebook page and I think the community resources we have and,
And the school.
Yeah.
Newsletter.
oh, yeah, that's true, school, yeah.
The only issue I see with that is that once baseball starts, if having done the schedule for probably 20 years, if there's not a school event, there's a game.
When's it,
Games,
when's baseball start?
usually the last Saturday.
How long? Go till-
The Saturday before graduation, usually like the 15th of June.
Well,
I mean,
I think it's a good idea.
Yeah, I think it's a great idea. Either we, you know, go into May sometime and risk a conflict with some of the kids with baseball, or we do it in late April. When,
But I think that would be, you know, talk to the fifth grade teachers. And,
Yeah.
you know, get everybody pumped about it. That would
Yeah.
be-
yeah, and so I can reach out to actually I can reach out to Joey. Because Joey's into it, so she could disseminate the information. We've got Ted Tribus, who's on the PTA with third person in the audience that works with the district that might be able to help out. So,
Does
So-
baseball still do Tuesdays and Thursdays or are they?
Monday
They
through
do every
Thursday.
night.
Monday through Thursday?
Unless it's a school conflict.
yeah,
I mean, unless we want to open up on a Friday. But
yeah, I'll tell you, right, yeah. So let's, I mean, let me kind of game this out, but I'll plan on sometimes. You said the last weekend in April is when,
yeah, usually the last Saturday. in April. I can find out.
okay, that's good. Okay, let me,
This would be, probably isn't out yet, but it'll probably be out in another week or two.
okay,
The other thing that is I do want to give the employees there plenty of notice as to when we're going to close. That's one of the reasons why I wanted to have it on the agenda tonight. And I also, one of the employees ended up with a full-time job, so she's still able to work, but she's somewhat limited. So my concern was depending on how late we stay open as to whether or not we'll even have staffing. So I will get back to them and let them know the situation. The last thing regarding the youth center is that they tell me they've had inquiries about birthday parties, and that's something we did talk about when we first opened. When I talked to the staff a few months ago about that, they just, once again, staffing was an issue on Saturdays. It just did not appear that they had the free time. Certainly we could hire additional staffing, but you know, my thought with process with the youth center has always been kind of like one step at a time.
yeah. And then the big step this year was getting it open and having
Sure.
you know, pretty good response and all that kind of stuff. So maybe that's something we can think about next year.
Well, could we? Summer rec. People, I mean, maybe we could invite them to help us out if we want to do something like that.
Kim could probably answer that better than I can, but I think a lot of them are college students.
Oh,
Some are
So that-
teachers. I don't know how many high school students you have working summer rec. I think it's minimal if I remember.
We're at a period right now, so, but most of them are college age kids that are out, and then,
so they wouldn't be available till after mid-May.
right, like college kids,
Right.
are coming back like around the 12.
Okay.
Keep some seasonal businesses from opening up earlier too. Anyway, anything else? We'll move on to Spray Park Septic System change order.
Make a motion for the change order for the septic system with Whitney East not to exceed $80,500.
Any discussion?
Have gone out there. This is the price that it was originally before we had the DEC pull the approval out from underneath us. They dug a hole in another area, shifted it over 50 foot, and confirmed with the contractor that this is the same price. You will see one thing on here is, I mean, the contractor gets, the general contractor gets 10% overhead profit. And then because it's the job, the installation has to be. Thankfully, it was less than the other price by $40,000. Pretty much right in line, and with Whitney East agreeing to do this as a change order through their project, we do not need to rebid it. Which is a major time savings, and we don't know what the bid come in at.
Right.
Yeah, it's not exactly what we hoped for, but it's the next best thing. Definitely jumped through a lot of hoops on this one. Any other discussion? One thing that concerned me before we go on is that Whitney East is the general contractor for the Spray Park, and it's, completion was November 5th, and it's not completely done. So one of the things that I emphasize with Bell is that these folks, we're not gonna go 90 or 120 days past completion. I think the words I used was that they were gonna be coal in their stockings, wasn't it, Brent? If they didn't get this completed at a time.
However you want to say beat to the flyer.
Yeah, something along those lines.
Well, and I think that also as a part of this, we are not changing that substantial date.
Yeah.
From November 1st, so we'll have money break.
Which there's a clause for a penalty clause in the contract. For every day they're late. So liquidated damage. We haven't signed off on that.
Now, they do, as a part of this, they do have an updated schedule on here. They're looking at the building punch list. This is kind of small. March 27th, if I'm reading this right, or 28th. They're looking for the building punch list. And then we had talked to them also. We want to start up the spray park, turn it on, make sure all the valves and everything's working well. And then have couple of people from building department, possibly a couple of people from highway department down there. They're gonna show us how to go through, start it up, and then winterize it. And very, Cindy, I think you said it, you nailed it perfectly. It's like my pool. Those are the steps. So I just think, if we can get 3-4 guys to look at that and see how simple it is, we can get it in motion.
And we're gonna videotape it too.
Yeah.
So this schedule is their updated schedule with the new.
Yeah.
Yes,
Sorry, I
yeah.
didn't print it
And
out.
that
Yeah,
long
it's
list
okay, I
on the
understand.
bottom is the septic installation. And It, weather pending, that's why it's lasting the whole month of April. Contract, like, get out there, I think he said April 8th. And he assumes it's gonna take him about a week, 7 to 10 days to do it, but he wanted to ensure he had enough time. In case it was nasty weather.
That's promising.
Any other
I
comments?
guess we can-
Wait,
Take it right now.
Wait, you know, I'm hesitant standing on this rug because it keeps on getting.
I know.
Yes, it's wrong.
The only thing I can say is that, you know, I've talked to other town supervisors in other towns, their projects going, and everybody's facing the same thing.
Sure.
They can't get the product costs more than it did, than they thought it did when they did their budget, So. Ongoing problem. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Thank you. Next is Spray Park. This is the Snow Geese base.
I'll make the motion to approve a contract with John Greco for stainless pipe material, stainless base plate fabrication and crane for mounting, not to exceed $22,925 from account H 7150.4.
Second.
Any discussion? You're gonna be up there quite a ways in the air. And Brent and I both feel that this gentleman will do a good job. They will stay up there, and because they're gonna be, you know, they're not coming down in the winter.
Right.
They're, there's a windstorm, they gotta, you know,
They got it.
they gotta hang in there.
This will,
They're 18-foot high,
Yeah.
30-foot wide. I mean, they're.
Yeah.
Stainless steel pipes.
This is impressive.
Yeah.
I mean, I
and
think,
that base fits on top of the marble structure that's there now.
Yes, the stainless, well, I think first of all, this is within that original budgetary price that they gave to us. This guy basically didn't know what it was until he saw it.
Yeah.
And yeah, he fits in, there's some threaded rods
Yeah, I
there,
see that.
and he's going to form this stainless steel base that he can set right on that with a crane. Done by a crane.
Well, his title is lasting.
Yeah.
We expect it to last.
No, he works metal. It's real metal.
stainless.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, any other questions or concerns? All in favor? Aye, any opposed? Okay, move on to educational conference for the deputy building inspector.
I'll make a motion to approve Timothy Best Deputy to attend the Finger Lakes Building Business Association Educational Conference on March 13th through 15th, 2023, not to exceed $390 from account number B 3620.401.
Any discussion? Tim has been invaluable with Corey's being, you know, its mobility being effective, and he's also been excellent because he is an expert in fire suppression when it came to doing some inspections on just for the restaurants in the Hampton.
How's Corey doing?
Oh, Ruben,
Is he okay?
yeah,
Up and at it.
really don't, I don't even think you noticed all that.
Okay.
Favor? Aye, any opposed? Next, Men in Green, partial credit release.
Make a motion to release $61,703.10 from the letter of credit as proposed by Marathon Engineering in Novella after met and receives $20,000 amount that has been billed to Griffin Associates for engineering provided for amending.
Second.
Any discussion?
Watkins emailed me today asking for this to be sent over to him tomorrow morning, and I advised him of the 20,000. And and in the invoice, they were gonna process it, you know, today, so.
Perfect.
It's perfect.
That's why it's in the agenda. Written that way. All in favor? Aye, any opposed? Thank you. Next, we have a special meeting regarding the comprehensive plan update and public hearing.
Make a motion to schedule a special meeting on Monday, March 27th, 2023 for a public hearing regarding an update to the Town of Mendon Comprehensive Plan. The Town of Mendon Boardroom, 16 West Main Street, Honey Falls, New York.
We say 7 o'clock.
Yes.
Yep.
I'll second that. Through, as I mentioned, we had been looking at this for a few months. And talked with the Association of Towns, talked to some legal advice, and they all said, you know, before you move forward with any kind of revision to your local laws, town code, if it's not discussed in your comprehensive plan, discuss it in your comprehensive plan. So, is, yeah, I think both of us, we can agree, when we sat on that, advisory committee, we didn't discuss the short-term rental, it's something that had during COVID kind of brought this to the forefront, at least in my recognition. So that is kind of the background of this that describes, you know, we didn't see it. We did have that public workshop to get additional information that was forum that we're in right now in the background. We find short-term rental. And basically, we have our traditional bed and breakfast, which is a hosted, which we had talked about in our code, and this one has come up as a vacation home or an unhosted temporary lodging with transient guests. So we define that, and through our land use determination, which is the next law, you know, we consider that a business. You know, you're not looking at, the primary use is a business. Primary use is not looking at homes. We go into, and then we kind of dovetail it into our existing comprehensive plan where we talk about commercial land use, mixed use districts, where they fit in within the town. Fit in. The second page you'll see, which is our SWOT analysis. Continue to fit this short-term rentals into where it fits in within the existing plan, within our guiding principles, mixed use zoning, and promoting mixed use zoning. Conclusion, we, you know, business commercial enterprise as it should be considered, and what in the hamlet and within
So, as Brett said, I mean, in my conversations with the attorneys in the Association of Towns, this was the proper procedure, before moving forward with the local law. The rest of the comprehensive plan, and I think, thanks to Brent, we're doing that.
and what I see is this draft, if we move forward after the hearing and adopt this, I see this as something that we slide in the front of the comprehensive plan. This would be whatever date, we're not updating.
Yeah.
This time.
Any other comments, discussion, questions?
I think
I'm sorry,
it's-
I did forget to say that I do have, there is a proposed short-term rental, which is a neighboring property of mine. I have no interest in this property. From making,
Cindy, did you want to say something?
I think this is a good plan. I think this is, we need. I appreciate all the work you've done on this.
We're voting on the meeting, right?
I have a
Correct.
public
On the
hearing,
public
yes.
hearing. Yes. All in favor of scheduling the public hearing?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Thank you.
You said 7 o'clock, right?
Yes, thank you for catching that.
And it's gonna be here.
And what is this? Sorry. Oh, I know what it was, Michelle, obviously, we know that legal.
Yep.
Next, at number 19 is a special meeting regarding fire protection.
I make the motion to approve scheduling a special meeting regarding fire protection within the town of Mendon. This will be a joint meeting with the Mendon Fire District Commissioners and the Village of Honeoye Falls. The meeting will be held at the Mendon Firehouse at 7 p.m. on Wednesday, March 29th.
Second.
First of all, I wanted to introduce Chief Drawer from the Honeoye Falls Fire Department and Anthony Militello from the Honeoye Falls Fire Department, who were instrumental in the committee that Karen and I additionally served on regarding this report. So, gentlemen, thank you.
And worked
would you-
extremely hard on.
Is there anything you'd like to share at this point? Thank you. And I'm sorry,
I
Karen.
said they worked extremely hard on it.
Oh, yeah, yes, believe me. I consider myself, barely scratching the surface on, in the knowledge department on fire service, but after this, I have a, maybe an elementary education, I'll call it, on fire service, but I learned a lot. I'll tell you that.
The other thing is
Very
Murphy.
important. Yes.
We would not be where we are without all of Muffy's work on
And
this.
I will say for everyone on the committee and especially Muffy, this saved our taxpayers an enormous amount of money. We'd have hired this out. It would not have been as complete, as thorough, and would have cost the taxpayers a lot of money. So goes to everybody who served on that.
This is kind of a public hearing, right?
This is a public hearing, correct?
Okay.
Yes, it is.
Need that legal too.
Yes. This is a public hearing, so it'll be, Muffy will give a overview. The committee and their conclusions, which are in here. And, it's not a decision-making meeting, it's a, informational meeting. We're encouraging the members of the two fire departments to attend, as well as anybody else in the community who wants to hear and know how we got to this point. So I think it'll be a good opportunity for people to hear what the committee came up with. Anything else? All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Thank you. Next, we have number 20, which is planning board forms update.
I'll make a motion to update. Form regarding planning board, special use forms and subdivision and or site forms.
So this was just an update to some forms that hadn't been updated in a while. Obviously Katrina's here, who is the planning board secretary. I thank her for her diligence in going through these forms and suggesting a bunch of corrections. And I think it will help solidify the permit process.
Great.
I think also in here, the planning board chair, trying to work together, come up with and have the information ahead of time and be able and not get last minute information.
Right.
Come to that. I think that's very important.
Yes, there's a lot of frustration.
One thing I will note on the requirements for the application, it mentioned site plan must be 8.5 by 11. I had not caught that before. I think it should be bolded to 8.5 by 11. So basically, packet. Okay.
Yes.
Okay. I think this really helps with I think this will really help limit the unique and challenging applications that the planning board has seen recently.
Any other discussion? Katrina, anything you want to add? Freedoms.
Yeah.
One step out of me. Anything else, anybody? Favor?
Aye.
Aye, any opposed? Again, thank you, Katrina, for doing that. Next, we have appointment to the Board of Assessment Review.
Make a motion to appoint Robert Blaine to the Town of Mendon Board of Assessment Review, term to expire 9/30/27.
Second.
Any discussion? Bob's been on the board, so this is a reappointment. Grievance Day is coming up the third Tuesday, right, Michelle? Third Tuesday of May, or fourth Tuesday. Third Tuesday in May, okay. Obviously, we need a full board. And Bob had agreed to do it, as you can see from his email, and I neglected to put it on the agenda at that point in time. Favor? Aye. All, any opposed? Let's see, next we have Finance HR meeting attendance.
Kelly Parmalee for the meeting of Monroe County Finance HR personnel on March 23rd, 2023. Mileage will be paid from account, mileage will be paid from account A 1310 .410.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, any opposed? Thank you. Back to public comment. Is there a motion for adjournment?
Second.
All in favor? Aye, any opposed? Thank you very much.
I'll get school.
Yeah, school.
When I got it, I just got it. I got a message while I was reading my lunch. so-
Yeah.
Let me get back to you.
Why's that?